Hello everyone! For today's video lesson ay tuturuan ko kayo kung paano gumawa ng mini research. Ito ay para sa mga grade 10, week 5, 4th quarter. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Kung bago ka pa lang sa channel ko, gumagawa ako ng mga Tagalog tutorial videos mula grade 7 hanggang grade 11. Kung interesado ka, please like, subscribe, at i-click mo na rin ang notification bell para ma-notify ka kapag may bago akong upload na video. Just keep on watching! Good day everyone! Sa video nga na ito ay ituturo ko sa inyo kung paano gumawa ng mini research. Dito sa ating learning task number 2, conduct a mini research on students' performance in their third quarter summative test in mathematics. Apply the knowledge and skills you have learned in this lesson based on the test results and make or formulate meaningful decisions based on the results to resolve the identified problem, concern, or issue. Bago natin simulan, ano nga ba ang research? Research is a scientific investigation and study of something in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. Suppose that we want to know the performance of the students in their summative test in mathematics, then we are going to conduct a statistical mini research. Itong mini research na to ay pinakasimple na sa pinakasimple, parang ganun siya. Gagawin lang natin siyang simple. Sa mini research title, since ang given dito is students performance, you can have your own mini research title, pero ito ang gagamitin ko. The performance of grade 10 at kung ano yung section na gagamitin ninyong data, students in mathematics at kung ano yung school ninyo in the third quarter of the school year 2020 to 2021. So, itong blank section ito, tapos ito naman yung school. The first part of the mini research is the background of the study. Dito sa part na to, you will tell something about your topic. For example, mathematics is an essential part of the school curriculum as it is used in both daily life and the study of other subjects. However, it is widely held that most students dislike mathematics. Many students struggle academically and are uninterested in this subject. Hence, teachers must identify which students are having difficulty and intervene to assist them in overcoming these obstacles. So, ito yung example ng background of the study. Now, ang second part ng mini research ay yung statement of the problem. Dito ninyo ilalagay kung ano nga ba yung gusto ninyong malaman sa ikakandak ninyong study. In this example, this mini research will help the researcher determine the performance of grade 10, yung section, students in mathematics at yung school for the third quarter of school year 2020 to 2021. Then the third part is the significance of the study. Dito ninyo ilalagay kung bakit ninyo ikakandak yung study na yon. Sa example na to, the researcher may be able to identify students who need support and intervention in this subject. This will reveal whether or not the students in yung section class are having difficulty with mathematics. Para malaman kung sino ba yung mga may kailangan pang matuto at kung sino yung mga nahihirapan pa sa subject na yan. Then dito naman sa part 4, which is the methodology. Sa research methodology, it is the specific procedures or techniques used to identify, select, process, and analyze information about a topic. May mga parts din sa methodology. Una ay yung research design. Ang ilalagay natin dito ay kung ano yung gagamitin ninyo, quantitative ba or qualitative. So, dito ang gagamitin natin is quantitative research. At saka kung ano yung gagamitin ninyong instrument para mag-gather ninyo yung data. So dito ang gagamitin natin is documentary analysis was used in conducting this mini research. Pag sinabi nating documentary analysis, galing ito mismo doon sa data or record or official record ng teacher or ng school. Another part is the participants or the respondents. Kung gusto ninyo ng isang section lang, then pwedeng isang section lang. Pero kung ano yung i-require ng teacher ninyo, yun ang gawin ninyo. Then another part is the data gathering. Paano na-gather yung data? The data were taken from the teacher's class record. This is the most important part of statistics. Data should be collected accurately and convenient to use. Ibig sabihin, kung gusto ninyong kumuha ng class record sa inyong teacher, kailangan ninyong gumawa ng formal letter na hihingiin ninyo yung teacher's class record. Hindi kasi basta-basta kinukuha na lang yung teacher's class record kasi nga confidential yan at pwedeng hingiin nyo lang yung score pero wag nyong hihingiin na pati yung pangalan kasi confidential yung record na yan. Then another part of methodology is the statistical treatments. Siyempre, ang gagamitin natin dito ay yung pinag-aralan natin na mean, percentiles at percentile rank. Ngayon, kung nakuha na ninyo yung data sa teacher ninyo, kung meron na kayong mga scores, then first thing that we should do is to create frequency table. Maalala nyo pa ba kung paano gumawa ng frequency table? I-review lang natin kasi ang hihingiin nyo lang is score, hindi naman yung teacher ang gagawa ng frequency table. For example, dito sa record galing sa teacher's record, ito yung mga procedures sa paggawa ng frequency table or frequency distribution table. Step 1, find the highest score and lowest score. Ang highest score ko dito is 94 at ang lowest score naman ay yung 20. Then, step 2, compute for the range. Ang range, the difference between the highest and lowest score. Kaya, 94 minus 20 equals 74. Ito yung range natin. Ngayon, ang third step naman, determine the approximate number of classes. Kasi hindi naman natin basta-basta nakukuha yung class interval. Sa mga example natin kasi sa mga nakaraang video, given na yung class interval frequency. Pero dito kasi, ang given lang ay yung mga score, kaya kailangan natin gawin to. Pwede natin gamitin yung formula na to, k equals 1 plus 3.322 log n. By substitution, ang n natin is 44 kasi 44 ito. Ito yung scores ng mga males at ito yung scores ng mga females. So, 44 lahat ito. And that is log 44 times 3.322 plus 1. So, yan yung magiging sagot, 6.45. At ang gagawin ninyo, magra-round up to the nearest integer. Ibig sabihin, yung 6.45, magiging 7 na siya. Ang class interval natin is 7. Ibig sabihin, ito mahahati sa 7 na class interval. Again, kahit 0.1 pa yan, round up pa rin tayo para makuha natin yung class interval. Ang next na gagawin, determine the class size. Class size ito. Ang formula naman ng class size, that is, I is equal to range over yung k. Ang range natin, di ba, is 74. Divided by yung k natin is 7. 74 divided by 7 equals 10.57 or round up ulit tayo to the nearest integer. Yung 10.57 magiging 11. Ibig sabihin, ang class size natin is 11. Kaya, ang gagawin na natin, gagawa na tayo ng table. Merong class interval, merong tally, at saka frequency. Since ang class interval natin ay 7, then gumawa kayo ng 7 na row dito. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pero kung kulang yan, pwede kayong mag-adjust ng isa pa kasi pwede naman yun. Allowable pa rin yun. Ang ilalagay natin dito sa pinakababa ay yung lowest score. Magsisimula tayo sa 20. Then, i-add natin yung class size na 11. So, 20 plus 11 equals 31. Plus 11 equals 42, plus 11 equals 53, plus 11, 64, plus 11 equals 75, plus 11 equals 86. Ito yung lower limit natin. Ngayon, para makuha natin yung upper limit, mag-subtract naman tayo dito sa second. Mag-subtract tayo ng 1. So, 31 minus 1 is equal to 30. Yun yung ilalagay natin dito. 42 minus 1 equals 41. 53 minus 1 equals 52. 64 minus 1 equals 63. Then, dito naman, pwede kayong mag-add na lang ng 11 dito. 85 plus 11 equals 96. So, ngayon, meron na tayong class interval. Ang gagawin na natin ay magtali ng scores. Alam nyo naman siguro kung paano magtali, di ba? Pababa tayo, unahin natin yung 35. Saang class interval ba nabibilang si 35? Dito sa 31 to 41, nandan siya. So, i-cross out na natin yung mga tapos na. Next is 73. So, nandyan naman siya. Next is 58. So, andyan naman yung 58. Then, 77. So, dito naman. Next is 51. Ilalagay natin dyan. Next is 42. Next is 34. Next is 69. Dyan. Next is 53. Then, 28. Then, 44. Nasusundan ninyo. Then, 81. Then, 38. Then, 52. Then, 40. Then, 68. Then, 20. 65. 39. Maglalagay na tayo dyan ng horizontal na line. Ang ibig sabihin niyan ay 5, di ba? Then, 39, dyan na ulit. Then, 34, dyan ulit. So, suppose na natali na ninyong lahat para mabilis tayo. Sa frequency naman, kukunin mo lang kung ilan yung tali. So, dito sa 86 to 96, iisa lang naman yung stick dito, kaya 1. Dito naman, that is 5 plus 1 equals 6. 5 plus 3, 8. 5 plus 4, 9. Then, 8 dito, tapos 8 ulit, then 4. Ngayon, meron na tayong frequency. Ngayon, para makuha natin yung mean at saka yung percentile, tapos yung percentile rank, kailangan natin ng less than cumulative frequency. Para makuha natin yung less than cumulative frequency, di ba, kokopyahin lang natin to, lalagay natin dyan, plus 8 equals 12, plus 8 equals 20, plus 9 equals 29, plus 8 equals 37, plus 6 equals 43, plus 1 equals 44. Dapat yung highest ninyo dito ay equal siya dun sa total number of frequency. Then, para makuha natin yung lower boundary, mag-subtract tayo ng 0.5 sa lower limit. 86 minus 0.5 equals 85.5. 75 minus 0.5 equals 74.5. At ganun ang gagawin ninyo hanggang dito. Then, para makuha naman yung plus mark or yung middle value, di ba ang gagawin natin, i-add natin yung lower limit at saka yung upper limit. Divided by 2 equals 91. Then, ganun din dito. 75 plus 85 divided by 2 equals 80. Hanggang dito sa baba, ganun ang gawin ninyo. Masyadong marami kapag ililista nyo lahat, kaya ang gawin ninyo, i-add nyo lang itong lower limit at saka upper limit divided by 2. Para makuha nyo naman yung product ng frequency at saka nung itong middle point or middle value, i-multiply nyo lang siya. 1 times 91 equals 91. Then 6 times 80 equals 480. 8 times 69 equals 552. At ganun din hanggang dito ang gawin ninyo. So 4 times 25 equals 100. Kompleto na yung table natin. Now we are ready to get the mean. Para makuha naman yung mean, kailangan natin yung summation of the product of the frequency and the middle value. Kaya, i-add natin lahat ito. 91 plus 480 plus 552 plus 522 plus 376 plus 288 plus 100, that would be equal to 2,409. The formula for the mean is the summation of the product of frequency and middle value all over the total number of frequency. The summation of fxm is 2,409 divided by 44 equals 54.75. Round off natin yung 54.75, magiging 55 na lang. So, the class has an average of 54.75 or 55% in math. Yan yung average na nakuha nila sa summative test. Ngayon, gusto kong malaman kung ano yung percentile 75. So, kukunin lang natin itong table na to. Kasi ito, hindi naman na natin kailangan for mean lang ito. Kabisado nyo naman na kung paano kumuha ng percentile, di ba? So, first, kailangan muna natin kunin yung class position, and that is Kn over 100. Ang K natin is 75 kasi 75th percentile. Then, ang N natin is 44 all over 100. 75 times 44 equals 3,300 divided by 100. That would be equal to 33. Ngayon, hanapin natin yung 33 na greater than or equal to siya dito sa less than cumulative frequency, and that is 37. Ibig sabihin, nandyan yung ating class position. Ang lower boundary natin ay 63.5. Ang cumulative frequency below ay 29. Then, ang frequency ay 8. At ang class size natin is 11. By substitution, that is 63.5 plus ang Kn over 100 ay 33 minus ang CFB ay 29 all over ang frequency ay 8 times ang class size ay 11. 33 minus 29 is equal to 4. Then, 4 divided by 8 equals 0.5. 0.5 times 11 equals 5.5. And then, 5.5 plus 63.5 equals 69. Ibig sabihin yan, yung 75% ng estudyante or 33 ang nakakuha ng less than or equal to 69. Paano nakuha yung 33 na estudyante? 75% times 44, kasi 44 sila, is equal to 33. Or by using your calculator, 0.75 times 44 equals 33. Then, ang next na kukunin ko ay yung percentile rank. Suppose that I want to determine how many students got the grade below 75, kasi usually below 75 is failed na, diba? Then, we are going to get the percentile rank of 74, which is in the class interval of 64 to 74. Ang kukunin natin ay less than 75, which is yung 74. Gets ninyo? Ang lower boundary natin is 63.5. Ang cumulative frequency below naman ay 29. Then, ang frequency ay 8. Tapos, ang class size natin is 11. Using the formula of percentile rank by substitution, 100 over ang N natin is 44. Then, ang P natin is 74 kasi gusto nating malaman kung ilan yung lower than 75. Minus 63.5 na lower boundary times ang frequency, that is 8, all over class size na 11 plus ang cumulative frequency below na 29. By using your calculator, try ninyong isolve to. 74 minus 63.5 times 8 divided by 11 is equal to 7.64 plus 29. Then, 100 divided by 44 naman ay 2.27. 7.64 plus 11 is equal to 36.64. Multiply natin sa 2.27, that is equal to 83.17 or 83%. Ang laki, di ba? Hindi ibig sabihin yan na marami ang nakapasa. Ang ibig sabihin yan, 83% of the scores are less than the cumulative frequency of 75. Ibig sabihin yan, 83% yung mas mababa pa sa 75. Kaya, super dami nila. While 17% of the scores are greater than the cumulative frequency of 75. 17% lang nung klase yung nakakuha ng greater than or equal to 75. Ibig sabihin yan, mas marami yung mga nakakuha ng failing grade or failing score doon sa mga passing grade or passing score. Ito ay sa summative test. Then, ang last part ng mini research is the results and findings. Dito ninyo ilalagay yung mga results ninyo kanina. Sa mean, di ba, is the class has an average of 54.75 or 55% in math. So, yan lang yung mga nakuha nila. Then, 75% of the students or 33, sabi ko nga kanina, 75% times 44 kaya naging 33 yon, have a score of less than or equal to 69. Ibig sabihin, 25% or 11 yung mga nakakuha naman ng greater than 69. Bakit 25 to? Kasi di ba may 100% tayo. Yung 75% doon ay nakakuha ng mas mababa sa 69 at yung 25% na estudyante ay nakakuha naman ng mas mataas pa sa 69. Then, 83% of the scores are less than the cumulative frequency of 75 and 75% of the scores are greater than 75. Gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, mas marami yung nakakuha ng mas mababa pa sa passing score na 75 kaysa dun sa mga nakakuha ng mas mataas pa sa 75. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Kailangan ng mga estudyante na to ng remedial examination or kung ano pang mga intervention na gagawin ng teachers. Marami tayong mga factors kung bakit mababa yung nakuha nila sa exam. Pwedeng sa social, emotional, physical, or mental, spiritual. At marami pang mga aspects na pwedeng maging dahilan kung bakit mababa yung nakuha nila sa exam. Then, another part of the mini-research is the conclusion and recommendation. So, ilalagay natin dito yung conclusion. Based on the results, the grade 10, yung section, got a low mastery level of performance for the third quarter in mathematics. There are only students who passed the summative test and most of the students got a failing grade or score. Mas marami yung nakakuha ng failing score kaysa dun sa mga nakakuha ng passing score. Ang pwede nating i-recommend, the math teachers of yung section must prepare intervention materials for that 83% of the class who failed to reach above 75% of the grade. Marami namang mga strategies ang pwede nilang gawin para makapasa yung mga estudyante sa summative test. Then, sa last part naman ng mini-research is the references. Dito naman, you are going to list down the books or journals or links at kung ano yung mga nakatulong sa inyo in conducting this mini-research. Lalong-lalo na kapag kumuha kayo ng phrases or sentence na galing sa articles, kailangan ninyong ilagay dyan yung links nila. Okay? Sana nakatulong ito sa inyo sa paggawa ninyo sa inyong mini-research. Mag-comment kayo sa baba kapag nakatulong ito sa inyo at i-share nyo na rin sa mga classmates ninyo para malaman nila. Once again, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy at mag-aral ng mabuti. God bless you all and goodbye!